Okay, here's part two. I said I would do a second part if I found some things during the reassembly process. And you're reading online, you know, someone said a novice should be able to do it in under, in an hour. Someone else was talking about being able to change them in 10 minutes. So I thought, you know, I should be able to do it in an hour. Well, it took me over 2, maybe 2.5. And most of it was all fighting friction, I guess. To kind of go over some of the other things, or summary. I had disconnected the lead from the alternator to the distribution box. At the distribution box, because it was just far easier than trying to work inside there. I'm not even sure if the camera's really picking that up well in there, but it is the where the lead attaches to the alternator itself. 10 millimeter ratcheting wrench will do you. I use a small flathead screwdriver to push the boot off. I think you can kind of see the boot in the camera there. It's kind of behind where you see the rusted hose clamp. But and then to reassemble, I just used a long, skinny flathead to hold the boot back out of the way while I got the 10 millimeter ratcheting wrench with a swivel head in there. And then when I got it onto that nut, I used the screwdriver to apply pressure on the back side of it, or of the wrench, so it wouldn't slip off the nut. And that part went fairly well. A tad longer than expected, but you know, it was only a couple minutes longer than I thought. However, these two bastards, the bolts that hold it in, getting the alternator to fit down inside of those crevices, you know, inside of the mounting locations, getting it to go down in between here, and it's hard to see the matching side because you got power steering fluid, and it looks like power steering fluid anyway, and some other junk. Power steering's over there. I don't know what that one is, but anyway, they're trying to get that to go back together. Oh, is that freaking engine oil? I don't remember this. I must have stressed this air conditioning line in the process, because it shouldn't be covering up the engine oil. Phil, hopefully I haven't wrecked my hard line. You know, why we've got a soft flexible hose through all this and then a hard line right there, I don't understand. It would have been a lot easier if the flex line went further. Apparently the hard line can flex because it was covering up the engine oil fill. Anyway, the matching sides down there somewhere. Just getting the alternator to fit in between the 2 mil brackets took the bulk of the time. You know, I was wailing on it with a plastic mallet. You know, don't want to use something heavy and actually break something. Finally, I was getting some traction with that. I got in a punch because I wasn't quite where I needed to be. I set the punch down here in this corner and hit it with the plastic mallet, thinking maybe by hitting up here I was getting too much force going other directions. Figure if I hit it here, it'll go down, and it did for a little while. But then on both of them, the last 1/8 to 1/16 of an inch was the most painful. I used a dental pick to put in the hole to see how the alignment was, because you put the bolt in, you only know if it's perfect or if it's not. With the dental pick, I was able to ascertain which direction and how much I had to move it. Combination of hitting the alternator. I didn't want to hit it too much, but well, I did. Hitting it and then using the pry bars to, you know, go back the other direction. But during all of this, I noticed that back here, see where that bracket angles downward? Trying to get my light to move. See how it angles this way? All of this back here is open, and you can have a straight vertical shot onto that piece right there. Once I discovered that, it was only a handful of hits, and I had it down where it needed to be. During this, I had gotten the right bolt back in first. Combination of ratcheting wrench and an actual ratchet, depending on leverage and position I needed. But I got to about halfway in, and it was still spinning. It still had resistance, so it wasn't, you know, free spinning, but just wouldn't go any further. So that's why I went back to working on the left one to try to get it lined up. And then the thought occurred to me to go try a small 3/8 battery impact. I had an extension with a swivel end, and by the way, those are 15 millimeter bolts. I used that on there, which gave me, you know, my arm wouldn't get tired to keep spinning it, and it because of the extension and the angle, I was able to put some pressure on the bolt to go inwards. Since getting down in here with a ratchet, you don't have any of that horizontal force. So by angling back with the ratcheting wrench, or with the extension on the impact, you know, they zipped right on. Usually when I use an impact to put things back on, really any sort of mechanical power to put things back on, unless it's okay with an unlimited amount of force, I take it up till it's right near where it needs to be, and then put the rest of it on by hand. I just don't want to risk stripping things out, and I generally don't let it spin. You know, I don't generally hold the trigger down extended amount of time. I usually just do it in bursts. I just fear stripping it out and causing a bigger problem. But hopefully you've all learned from my mistakes, and thankfully the alternator was the problem. I read online that it could also be the PCM or wires to the PCM, so I'm glad it was just an alternator. See over here, if you've ran it for really any amount of time with the alternator not working, it is best to charge it with an external battery charger. The alternator will do it, but I still had juice. I could still drive around, but I didn't want to push it too much. Just got the external charger on. Just have it in a slow charge to top it off. Don't want to put any extra strain on the alternator than I have to. Well, thank you, and hopefully I'm done fixing my truck for a while.